And at the park, there was one part that reminds me of mommy because they were watching just this kid skateboard and he like ate it so hard while he was skateboarding. And they were like, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. You're gonna hurt his pride. And they're giggling away. And whenever mommy watches the Olympics with me, the Winter Olympics specifically, if it's figure skating and it's pairs, and he throws the girl, and if she doesn't land, mommy is just dying. And I'm like,
She
you're
laughs.
evil. You're so evil.
She also during the Summer Olympics, she laughs at the diver.
She does. She does. She or the hurdlers, if they trip over a hurdle, she's like, oh, but why? No.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Spoiler Alert. It's an HEA. I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Julie. Hey, everyone.
We are really excited to be here and to be sorry. We're excited to be here for another week. And this week we are discussing The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory.
So I found out about Jasmine Guillory the year we went to Seattle. We went to some humongous bookstore and they have like a mass media small version book of the proposal, the next book in the series. So I bought it because I was super poor and it was like $7. And once I found out about it, I was like, oh my goodness. I love her and I introduced her to mommy, and then that was it. Now
Yeah.
she's amazing to all of us.
See, so many positives about that Seattle trip. I think we're at like Elliott Bay Book Company, and like that is just such a great bookstore. They were super helpful because I was looking for an Audre Lorde book, and she like literally walked me through the whole entire store until I found the exact copy, the title and copy that I was looking for.
I think I want to work at a bookstore like that.
Has a cafe, has different floors.
It was airy and bright.
Yeah, I do like a book that takes place in a bookstore.
Have you finished that one that we bought at the bookstore down here?
Oh my God, the banned bookshop of Maggie Banks.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Okay, I have my copy, but I haven't read it yet.
It's not what you think it's
It's in my
about.
TBRs.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like focusing. Well, it is focus. Yeah, I won't spoil it for you. You should read it.
Okay, I will read it. But I love Jasmine Guillory. I love her writing. It's pretty fast paced.
Yeah.
Some twists and turns to keep you totally into it. And it's just great
Yeah.
writing.
I also love her Instagram account. She posts every day that she has like completed her yoga practice, and she's like in the thousands like right now.
What?
Yeah, and like she'll post like the exact number every day that she's reached. And she also posts her dog. It's like the cutest puppy ever.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But that's my like parasocialness because I'm like, your dog's so cute. Can I pet it? Really creepy.
And I'm
Sorry.
like, I want to do yoga every day for a month.
Yeah. And also, she like make like since following her on Instagram, okay, this is like a spoiler, but if you read if you read The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory, in that book, the main character makes enchiladas, and she and her mom actually make enchiladas at home.
I love that. That's not a spoiler.
I guess it's not, but
No.
I'm like very intrigued to know like what other parts of like her life translate to her writing and the novels that she releases.
She did go to law school, and in our story, the main character, well, our main female character
Yes.
is she went to law school.
Yeah.
And I will say that with her books, she has kind of maybe three that you don't have to read, maybe four. She has Party of Two, the one we're doing today, the wedding date, the
Hmm.
proposal, and the wedding party. They follow characters who are related and they're in each other's books, but you're not missing too much if you just hop in like I did in book number two.
Yeah, totally.
But today we're going to cover book number one.
Yeah. So let's dive on in.
Okay, so the wedding date starts with Alexa, our main character, going to visit her sister who's coming from New York because she just made partner. And her on her ride on the elevator up to visit her sister at the hotel, the elevator stops and she's like, wait, what? And when she looks around, she realizes she's not alone in the elevator. Now, me and elevators are not friends. I'm always half afraid when I get on one. And at my job, the elevator does this, we call it the dance when
Mm,
it's coming to the first floor because it shakes for like 30 seconds.
no,
And
ma'am.
every time I'm on it, I'm like, why did I do this? This is
Mm-mm.
going to be the moment where I have a very full bladder and now I'm stuck
No.
in this elevator. Yeah, so I try not to ride it anymore because of the dance, but um her elevator does the dance and it stops. And she's like, oh, hot guy next to me on the elevator. Is this like a movie? Is there a camera on? What's going on?
Yep. And they, of course, call for help. And the hotel, which is like a fancy 5-star hotel, is like, sorry, there's a power outage. Let's just wait a bit. And the generators should like kick in.
So the guy that's on this elevator with her, his name is Drew. And we learn that,
Andrew, sorry.
okay, he goes by Drew. Jerome. Some Andrews don't like to be called Drew. So Drew is here for a weekend and he's going to his friend's wedding.
Hmm.
And she's like, oh, sounds fun. And he's like, not really, because it's my ex-girlfriend getting married to one of my
Best
really good
friends.
friends. And on top of them getting married and him being invited, he's also a groomsman. And then
Torturous.
to add more to that little, terrible sandwich, he's also going single to this wedding. He's going stag. And he's like, this is going to be terrible.
Yep. No security blanket.
While they're stuck and, now they're starting to flirt, I was like, this reminds me of another book. Now, I'm into like all the books,
Hmm.
any book, any sci-fi, anything I'm in it. Now, there's this one, it's in the Omega verse for those who don't know. It's this universe where humans are broken into three categories: alphas, betas, and omegas. And alphas and omegas are like the strongest mate, and they only mate with each other.
Mm.
And when the omega goes into heat, they have like a really high sexual drive and they're like a cat going into heat where they're like rubbing on everything just trying to find pleasure. So there was this book I read, The Heat Clinic. I can't remember the author. Look it up while I'm telling you. So with the Heat Clinic, there's this girl who is going to check herself into this hotel where they are like essentially taking care of you while you're in your heat cycle in a safe environment where they're not going to bite and mate you and you're good to go. And while she's there, she's like a day away from her heat and she gets on the elevator and the elevator breaks and she's in there with an alpha and then she is just rubbing all over him. I mean, it was insane. So every time they got in an elevator after, they were just like, this is us, the elevator. So that's The Heat Clinic by Alexis Osborne. Thank you, Chrissy.
Hmm.
I mean, I was like, are they about to start like going to Bangtown in the middle of this hotel elevator with cameras, I'm sure, in the corner? But yeah. So the elevator gets fixed and they flirt a little bit while, they're on their way up to their floors. They're on the same floor and they go their separate ways. And he's walking away and he's like, hold on. I know this sounds crazy and we just met, but what are you doing on Saturday night
Not just
and
Saturday
Friday
night.
night?
Yeah, 2 nights of her time.
And she's like, what? This doesn't happen to me. Like I'm just this short, curvy black girl, and this hot white doctor guy is talking to me, and he's like, what am I doing this weekend?" And she's like, "Okay, I will be your date. I do have some things going on in my regular life, but I'm really, really free. So yeah, let's do it." And they exchange numbers.
And she goes to her sister's room and they have a great night. And we move ahead to the next day, and she is coming to the conclusion that she said yes to Drew, and Drew is texting her information and stressing her out. And she's like, I have nothing to wear. What am I going to wear? Like,
Wait, he doesn't even tell her like the wedding is formal or
yeah,
casual or black tie optional, which it is. She goes on the internet and she's like, "This is the name of the bride and groom. Let me Google and see if they have a
yeah.
wedding website.
And of course, there they are on the knot.
Black tie optional."
Mm-hmm. I need something fancy. To the mall we go with Maddie.
Before we get to the mall, we learned that Alexa was a lawyer. Well, she's a lawyer, but instead of practicing law right now, she's the chief of staff for the mayor. The theme going through this book is that she's trying to pass this program for the city to help students, to help teenagers who are at risk. And she has
Mm-hmm.
a friend, Theo, who works at City Hall with her. So it's Friday. So she takes a long lunch. Her best friend takes her shopping and she goes to Nordstrom, my favorite store. And she finds something to wear for the wedding. And she finds something in her closet for the rehearsal dinner. Now, the dress that she finds, she's kind of so. She's on the fence because it's like a fitted dress that shows off her boobs and it's red. And Maddie's like, "Girl, you look amazing. Do it." And she's like, "Okay, very curvy."
I feel like she bought
No,
two
the
new
black one was in
dresses.
her closet from another event.
I'm nitpicking unnecessarily.
Nitpick away, girl. So she gets to the rehearsal dinner, and before she goes in, she asks him a very important question. And she says, "Will I be the
Yes.
only black person there?"
So relatable. Always ask that
Absolutely.
question.
And sometimes I don't ask because I know the answer.
No, I still gotta ask. That way I can back out, and I will back out.
When I visit my fiance's family, I don't have to ask. It's just, this is that. He says he doesn't even know. He's like, "I haven't thought about it." And he starts to name like, there's one other person who went to med school with us. He's black, and there's another minority. My friend's girlfriend is Asian, and she'll be there. So Alexa's like, "Okay, cool. It's not a deal breaker. I went to Berkeley Law School. I've been the only black person in the room before."
So they head into the rehearsal dinner, and it goes pretty well initially. They're talking to the bride and the groom, and that conversation goes really well. And then they are approached by Amy, who is the sister of the bride, and Amy is ignoring Alexa and only wants to speak to Drew, which is just
Yeah,
very
like I'm
rude.
standing next to him, ma'am. Do you see that? Did you see me?
No, she literally overlooked her, like, because of course Drew wouldn't be interested in his date, question mark. He said that's my
Yeah.
girlfriend. Excuse me. But overall the night goes pretty well and it passes by without incident, and she leaves the rehearsal dinner early because she does have work Saturday morning. And as she's heading out for the night, he says, like, meet me at the hotel tomorrow to get ready for the wedding, and then you can take the shuttle with his friend's girlfriend. And it also like sticks to the storyline of her pretending to be his girlfriend and his date for the wedding.
So she gets there the next afternoon to get ready. And when she comes inside, he gives her a beer. They start talking, and he's like, "Oh, how was your playground thing this morning?" And she's like, "Oh, look at you listening and asking me about my life.
Hmm.
Fake date. Cool." And they have a moment where they get close and they're like, "I think I like the way you look." And she's like, "Look at him in that tux. Oh my gosh." And then there's a knock on the door because it's time for the wedding to start and he has to go take pictures because you have to
Yep.
do before the wedding photos.
And after the wedding photos, they do
But
both.
so you
Or do
do.
they?
But some people don't like to do
Yeah, they
before,
do both.
like because of bad luck or whatever.
You look the best before.
I
Sorry,
No,
is that
that's
rude?
fact. You're not windblown, you're not stressed out, your makeup is solid and fresh. Oh my
Not
goodness.
creased.
You have to do before. He has to go take the photos. And Ellie's like, okay, calm down, girl. Nope, not Ellie. Alexa is like, me and my voice to text notes are terrible. So just so you know, this is
Yeah.
Alexa. So Alexa's like, he looks like he just stepped off of a movie set and you are just regular old Alexa. He doesn't really want you. He just had a moment. Pull yourself together. And
Yeah, it's the bear. She's like, we were drinking, haven't had much food. It's for sure the
yeah,
alcohol.
so she goes to the wedding. It's a lovely ceremony. I mean, as lovely as weddings can be. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Unremarkable overall.
and now it's time for the cocktail hour.
Yeah. And at the cocktail hour, creepy Bill won't leave Alexa alone.
And he's like
And
touching her.
yeah, just very inappropriately and like pursuing her very aggressively because he knows that she's there with Drew and that she's Drew's girlfriend and date. But he's like, you're just so hot and your hair, and I'm never around black women. So let me be.
He didn't say it, but that's how he's acting.
Yes, that's how he's acting. He's not saying that, but it's like her proximity to him is like, let me just be a full
Yeah,
on
and then even
creep.
when Drew comes up, he's like, haha, I stole your date. You were gone too long. Good luck, man. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
Who are you,
wait,
sir?
what? My mind was just blown. And I'm like, this has happened in Jasmine's life. She's seen it, she's heard it. This is real life where people are just creepy and insane. And you're just like, stop it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Literally, I was watching Queenie on Hulu, and Queenie is a TV show, but it's based on a book, Queenie by Cardi Williams. And it's like a British author. Wait, no, I'm so sorry. It's not she British? Yeah. The author of Queenie, Cardi Williams, is British because like it's it's based in the UK, the book. And literally in episode 1 or 2, can't remember, of the series, she's just in the club dancing with her friends, and this creepy white guy just comes over while she's dancing and is like staring her down. And one of her guy friends has to like step in and be like, excuse me. It's like, come on.
Gross. I have to watch it. I've seen all the previews and I'm like, I need to watch it, but there's no time. I need like
Yeah,
12 more hours in my day.
I'm gonna read the book, but I'm also gonna continue watching it. So while they're at the cocktail hour, while Creepy Bill is being creepy, Drew's friends are also beginning to question Drew and Alexa about their
In a
relationship.
curious way,
And
not in like a nitpicky, negative way.
yeah, yeah, like I haven't seen you in a few months, Drew. Like, what's been going on? What's the story here? And they're like, we met in an elevator. But a month ago. So, while they are telling some lies about the start of their relationship, they are sticking as close as possible to the truth. And overall, like Alexa really hits it off with Drew's friends, and they have like a good conversation at cocktail hour. And then they head into dinner. And at dinner, Alexa offers Drew a piece of her pork chop. See, I don't eat pork, can't say the word.
Bark,
Jesus
bark.
Christ. And offers Drew a bite. And he immediately is like, nope, I'm allergic to nuts. And Amy leans over because, of course, she's sitting um, to his like left. And she's like, how did you not tell Alexa that you're allergic to nuts? Like, it was one of the first things that you told Molly, her sister, when they started dating. And she's like, huh, so weird.
So Alexa kind of tries to brush it off and she's like, I didn't know that. We just met 2 days ago. But she gets up and goes to the bathroom. And while she's gone, Bill, trash bag Bill, comes up to Drew and he's like, what's it like to bang a black girl? I've always wanted to. And Drew sees red and he's literally about to punch him in the face. And Dan is like, come with me, please. And Drew's like, I literally want to throw him off the top of this building. Like, I want him dead.
Yeah.
because that's just vile and nasty.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, Alexa is in the bathroom, also about to have a very disturbing experience because while she's in the bathroom, she overhears Amy and other friends of the bride talking about her. Well, not talking about Alexa, but talking about Drew.
Yeah, they're talking about Drew and like, oh, maybe he can come hang out with me once he's done with his date. And it's like,
Yeah.
but he he was dating your sister, and now you want to hang
Hmm.
out with him after hours?
Oh my God. Yeah. She's like, I can show him who's the better sister in bed.
She says that later to him when she gives him her room card. But yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
she's terrible.
Yes.
She's gross. Just
Disturbing.
insane. I could never. I had some. Oh, I was gonna say something about Amy, the name Amy. In that crazy book, Gone Girl, isn't her name Amy? I
Shut
think it
up. Is
is.
it? Hold on.
Because that girl was absolutely insane as well. The way that she just made herself disappear. I read the book when the movie came out because I was like, I have to read the book first. And the whole book, I was like, are you kidding me? What? What? What?
Obviously. Of course, her
Yes.
name is Amy.
So,
Amy June.
not a good track record for Amy in the books. If your name is Amy, I'm sorry. It's not you. You're a good one. But these are terrible. So,
Honestly, some names are cursed. I'm so sorry
I won't
though.
list them. I have a list, but I will not list them. But Amy's on the list.
You should list
No,
them. You should list
alienate
them.
everybody who has these names. Like, I'm sorry. It's not your fault, but it's your parents.
It's like how some names are like classic Jamaican names or other Caribbean names. When I hear like Errol, Andre, like I'm just like, you're Jamaican or
That's
you're
it.
Caribbean. Please tell me which island you
Yeah,
are
there's
from.
no question about it. Okay, so while when they leave the bathroom, Alexa comes out and she looks in the mirror because she's standing next to just these other random girls who are at the wedding.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
what?
so sorry.
Oh my God.
Gregory. That is another super Jamaican name.
I thought you had something to say.
No, I'm going through my list of names. That when I'm so sorry. I was
Ah,
actually just dying internally.
I can't.
I'm only a quarter Jamaican, by the way. So, well, we are only a quarter.
It's the Caribbean.
Still.
It's just, it's all in there.
Yeah, we are a mashup of all of it.
So we're getting back to the book now. So
Yeah.
Alexa comes out of the bathroom and she's standing next to these random girls. And she's like, look at them. They're just so skinny and blonde. And they don't even wear bras with this
Hmm.
dress. Look at them. And she's like, I just feel too much. I have too much boobs, too much hips, too much curly hair, just too much everything. Because it's hard not to compare yourself to those who are around you when you're just kind of
Yeah.
already feeling a little bit like I'm probably not his go-to. If his ex is Molly, this beautiful blonde girl getting married, like I'm not his style, I don't think. So she leaves the
Hmm.
bathroom, and when she finds Drew, she can tell something's wrong. He can tell something's wrong with her. And he's like, did Bill say something to you? And she's like, no. Did Bill say something to you? And he tries to say, like, no, no, we'll talk about it later. And she's like, nope, we'll talk about it now. And he's like, it's not, can we not? And she's like, either it was about my body or it was something racist. And he's like, it was something racist. And she's like, I mean, I know he was trashed from the ceremony, but thanks for letting me know. And Drew makes a note to keep an eye out on Bill the entire night to make sure he gets nowhere near her again.
Yep. And the wedding continues. And of course, there is the bouquet toss.
And when they like announce the song, like the single lady song comes on, because that's the only song that you can do it to now. There,
Yeah.
her face is like, no, I will not. I cannot. Why are we doing this? And then they go up, her and Lauren, and they have this plan where they like look really eager, and then they just take steps back to move away. It's like that meme where I think it's like The Simpsons, where he's like going into the bushes quietly.
Homer,
I didn't
yes,
even
I
know his
love
name.
that
I have
meme.
like seen like two episodes. I'm like that guy, the yellow guy.
Shut up.
But
You know what? That's good.
yeah,
Don't
no.
ever
I mean,
watch.
isn't it still going on?
I
Okay.
have no idea. Probably yes.
Meh. So
But
they
yeah,
step back, and then when they don't catch it, they make like these exaggerated sad faces. And the guys are like, should we be sad that they look so happy not to catch this bouquet? And then they're like, no, we have the smartest girls here. Like, this is it.
yeah, they're the best. And they all head to the dance floor and they're dancing and having fun. And the end of the night is coming and they're at the bar getting water. And she's like, I need to head out so I can catch the BART, which is like the train system in San Francisco and Oakland. And he's like, you don't have to like take the BART.
And she's like, I could just stay.
Yeah. And then he
No.
kisses her. Or they kiss each other. Yeah. And as they're making out, of course, they are interrupted by Amy. And she's like, we have to do the send off. Molly and Josh are getting ready to leave. And, come on over. And as they're standing there taking these
Amy.
photos, as the bride, yeah, as the bride and groom are departing, she puts her room key into his back pot. She puts she puts her room key into his back pocket and literally whispers in his ear, being like, in case you want to ditch your date and compare sisters to see who's the wild one, like, come back
Vomit.
to my room. And she also kisses his cheek for the
Vomit.
photo. Yeah, just gross behavior completely.
While they're taking the photos, Bill, of course, because Bill must Bill, he goes over to Lauren and Alexa and he starts to speak to Lauren in Japanese. And she's like, I'm Korean. And he's like, oh, and he like tries to play it off. And then the guys come and they're like, get out of here, Bill. And they all go upstairs for the night. So once they get to the room, I mean, all bets are off. They're like, this is it. We've had a great night together. We've been flirting and touching and kissing and laughing. And now it's time to get down to business in the bed. And after they have what she considers the most amazing sex she's ever had, she's like, this is the first time that I've had sex with somebody and I haven't thought about like my cellulite, my rolls, my extra curves, being too heavy, leaning against him. And she's like, maybe I'm feeling this way because I'm never gonna see him again. I mean, he lives in LA.
Yeah, so it's the next morning, and she's like, hey, so I've heard some things last night about you and Molly. And it doesn't sound as if she left you for your best friend. It instead sounds as if you've done something a bit wrong.
Meow, meow.
And he's like, yeah, it was actually me. I broke up with her. I wasn't ready for a serious relationship. So I broke up with her because the next step for her was a proposal and then getting married. And she's like, okay, thanks for being honest and telling me about what happened. And they move on with their morning. And as they're getting ready to leave the hotel, he's like, my flight is in 30 minutes and I'm having so much fun with Alexa. I don't want to leave. And he changes his flight from, I think it was like a midday flight, like 1 p.m. till like 8 p.m. so that he gets to spend the whole day with her in San Francisco. And I'm like, look at that. Who just changes their flight?
Secretly. It was a secret change. He went to the bathroom and changed it. And
Yeah.
then he came out and was like, what if she has plans today?
And
I
now,
did not do this the right way.
yeah.
But she's had a great time with him. So she's like, I have nothing to do on this lovely Sunday. Let's spend the day together.
Yeah. So they hang out in a park, they get food, and they have a really enjoyable day.
And at the park, there was one part that reminds me of mommy because they were watching just this kid skateboard and he like ate it so hard while he was skateboarding. And they were like, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. You're gonna hurt his pride. And they're giggling away. And whenever mommy watches the Olympics with me, the Winter Olympics specifically, if it's figure skating and it's pairs, and he throws the girl, and if she doesn't land, mommy is just dying. And I'm like,
She
you're
laughs.
evil. You're so evil.
She also, during the Summer Olympics, she laughs at the diver.
She does. She does. She or the hurdlers, if they trip over a hurdle, she's like, oh, but why? No. Yeah, no. So they laugh at this kid and they're just having a really great time. So the time is winding down. He has to leave to go back to LA, and they go back to her place and he walks her inside, and they end up having sex against the wall. And then she's like, you gotta go, man. And he's like, you're right. And he barely makes his flight.
Yeah. And then the next day, they both head into work because it's Monday. And she's like, it was really great weekend and I had so much fun being his fake date and then spending the day with him. But, that's it. It's over. And then Drew texts her. He sends her a message inviting her down to LA for the weekend.
And he sends this message at like the urging of his friend Carlos, because Carlos, who I love, Carlos is like
Hmm.
my favorite character. Spoiler alert for the end of the book. I love Carlos because Carlos is like, so you tell me that you meet this hot girl who's amazing and she's hilarious and sweet and kind and go with the flow, and you have great sex and you're just never gonna see her again. Like, this is it.
She sounds
So
perfect.
he does. Yeah, like, what are you doing, man? Get it together.
She's clearly like none of the other girls that you have dated and dumped.
Yep. So he's like, I got Miles. Do you want to come to LA?
Yeah. So she heads to LA for the weekend, and Carlos ends up being the one to pick Alexa up from the airport. And he even gets her food and then takes her back to Drew's apartment.
And Drew gets there. He's like, well, what are you still doing here, Carlos? They said drop her off and leave, but they hang out for a little bit and they just have a really good time together. This weekend, and Alexa ends up meeting one of his patients, a little boy named Jack. And when the weekend is done, he's like, are you free next weekend? I can fly down to, San Francisco. And she's like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Yeah. But once she's back, she begins questioning, like, what does he want? What are his attentions? What are we doing here?
Are we exclusive?
Yeah. And she asks him that specific question, like, is he sleeping with anyone else? And the conversation just goes terribly.
It does. He's like, I'm at work right now, so no, I'm not sleeping with anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you cannot joke through text.
No, you got to pick up the phone and you have to call. Texting is just never the answer for certain conversations.
Yeah, I don't read your humor in your
Yeah.
words.
And just do what I do. I'll call people 5 billion times until they pick up the phone.
Yeah, and then I want to block you for the rest of my life.
I dare you.
I would if I could,
Okay.
but then I'd be so sad the next day. I'd be like, Chrissy hasn't
Yeah.
called me a million times.
Yeah, you would unblock me.
1 billion times.
Insanity.
Check the text message. Hi, yo, wavy face. Yo, where are you? I'm here. 3 minutes. Alrighty, I'm back.
Okay.
Can I breathe?
No.
Okay, good
What's
to know.
breathing? What's oxygen? You don't need it.
I'm a peaceful person, and you bring anxiety into my life.
Sure. But yeah, their situationship ends after that conversation over text and they stop talking. Drew ends up heading to San Francisco for a conference with Carlos. And while they're there, Carlos is like, you should message Alexa, try and see her, reach out. And they end up leaving their conference early and they head to a bar. And of course, that same night, Alexa's heading out to a bar because Theo, her best friend and coworker, it's his birthday. So her and
It's
Maddie,
fate. It is
yeah,
absolutely fate.
it is. And while at the bar, Drew and Carlos spot Alexa. And he immediately comes over to her and is like, can we talk?
Only Drew spots Alexa. because Carlos comes over later.
Oh yeah, to introduce himself, and then her friends, Thea and Maddie as well. So Drew sees Alexa in the bar and immediately goes over to her and is like, "Hi," and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Can we talk here for a conference?" And they talk, and
They start making out.
yeah, they do after the apologies and all the words are said.
And then Carlos comes over because Carlos is mad. He's like, "You ruined it with this amazing girl, Alexa. I like her. You like her. And now you're kissing this random girl in the bar." So he's like, "Hey, Drew." And then when Drew turns around, he's like, "Oh, Alexa, I didn't know it was you." And then it's like, "Oh, okay, go, go. Have fun. I'll see you later, man."
Yeah.
And they spend the weekend together.
Yeah, and that resets their relationship. They are talking again and making plans to see one another. While at work one day, Drew gets terrible news about his patient, Jack, who has leukemia. And Alexa previously had met Jack and his mom, and he knows that. And he's so upset that he just buys a flight to fly to San Francisco and shows up on her doorstep crying and seeks her comfort.
I was like, "This is it. Just buy a one way and move here now. Come on. This is it, Drew. This is your new home."
Literally, like he didn't even think to go to his home or to go to Carlos's home. He was like, it's her.
They spend the night together. He cries to her. She talks to him and about her program as well, because this teen program that she's been working on, it's for teens who get into trouble, and how typically when brown people get into trouble in their youth, the consequences are more severe than if a white counterpart gets into the same amount of trouble. And Drew was like, "You're right. When I stole the principal's car, the secretary winked at us and never ratted us out to the principal.
Hmm.
And when her sister did something, it was potential jail time.
Yeah,
But
for
there
a
was
minor.
a minor, a high school student. But there was a program that had her do service hours in the community in lieu of, having a charge
Yes.
on her record. And now she, is partnered at a law firm, and she wants to make sure that there's something like this for people who are growing up in the same community today. So Drew is like, "I get you, girl. Talk to your sister. Tell her what you're doing so that, she can see how you're trying to honor her and apologize for being a bratty teenage sister when all this was happening." So he flies back to work the next morning. And when Carlos comes into his office, Carlos is like, "Where were you last night? You missed basketball." And he's like, "I went to San Francisco." And Carlos is like, "So you have a bad day and you go see your girlfriend. That's totally normal." And he's like, "Nah, it's just a booty call.
She's
You
not
know,
my
I,
girlfriend.
I've driven to the valley to get, some sex." And then I was thinking of the valley and Vanderpump Rules,
Oh
for
my
those who
God.
watch. If you live in the valley, like, you are just out of the way. It's like an hour plus with traffic, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody hates the valley. And Cross is like, "You did not drive to the valley for a girl. Let's be real." And he's like, "No, I didn't drive to the valley for anybody, but I did fly to San Francisco for her."
To go to LAX for her, that's love. Because no, thank
Facts.
you.
Or maybe he's not flying into LAX. Maybe he's doing
Oh,
into,
that's true. He could have been
what's the other
flying.
one called?
There's like Ontario, there's Burbank. So
Burbank is the one that everybody loves.
yeah, yeah, it's nicer. Like
I
it's nicer to
think.
get there.
Not a West Coast girl.
It's okay. I'll be a West Coast girl for you.
In theory, you better not move. Nobody has time for the time change. I'm just saying.
Best of luck when I'm living in Chiswick or Ealing then.
"Oh, I can visit all the time."
Yeah.
I have miles, like Drew. Watch me. I got
Up,
miles.
upgrade your credit card.
All of them. Okay, so Alexa goes back to visit him, and it's 4th of July weekend, and they go to a party, and he's like, "Just so you know, the lady whose party we're going to, I did date her, but we've been nothing for a long time, so it's fine."
Yeah.
And of course, Alexa and I are similar with our body issues, and just not even issues, but like comparing. And she's like, look at these girls in these like little skinny dresses and shorts. And
Yeah.
here I am in my little A-line dress that I thought was cute with polka dots when I was at home. And now I'm like, it's not so cute anymore.
Yeah. While at the party, Alexa is like, I think I want a relationship with Drew, even if I don't like the people that he is surrounding himself with. However, at the party, when she heads inside and is like helping and talking with the folks, the women that are there, they begin to tell her some not so great things about Drew.
Are they not so great or are they just the truth?
They're the truth, but it's not great for her to hear that because she was just
Yeah.
beginning to admit her feelings and thoughts about him to herself.
Yeah, she's been like teetering on that. I really like him, but we can't do this long distance. Like flying every weekend is getting old real fast.
Hmm.
And this is not how we can maintain a relationship.
Yeah.
And these girls are just, they're being super friendly, super nice to her and just very welcoming.
Yeah. But they're like, just bear in mind, at 2 months, he's going to give you a speech.
They
And
did not say that. They said this is what happened to me.
then
They
another girl
don't
was
warn
like,
her.
it's a warning for multiple women at a table to tell you the same breakup
Yes,
story.
but
That is a warning.
it
Like
is a warning,
they're
but it
trying to
wasn't
make it.
explicit.
That's true. It is. Like sometimes things that are implicit are explicit. And I feel like that's what that was.
Okay, what I'm saying is they were not trying to be like, run, girl, you in danger.
They
But
were
they were like,
like,
this is what
girl,
happened to me. So you choose your own path.
they're like, it's coming. Are you prepared for it? If not,
Yes,
get ready. Just like those memes when they're like, if you see someone running, you're running too. And I
that's
am
it.
running. If I see a black person running, I am running with them. Me and all the fellow black folks are going down the street together.
I mean, you run first, ask questions later.
Yeah,
Done.
yeah. I can ask the questions while we're running. And these women, these white women primarily, were telling her the truth about Drew. And
In a friendly way and just very pleasant. And like he sent flowers after it was done. And it's
yeah,
just he's a really great guy. We're
I
still friends
can
with him
buy
today.
my own flowers.
I can buy my own flowers,
Yeah.
write my name in the sand.
Talk to myself for hours.
Mm, 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 mm.
I love that Miley Cyrus song.
It's so great. I'm gonna play it after we say goodbye. Okay, so she starts to have some feels, but game face is on. She's a politician, and she's like, "Oh yeah, cupcakes, party, sangria, life is great." And when she goes back to Drew, she's mad because she likes him, and she's like, "Well, our 2 month mark is this weekend, so tomorrow we're gonna have this conversation. I already know it." So she starts pulling away and she's like not letting him touch her, or every time he comes around, she's walking away. And finally he corners her in a room and he's like, what's going on? Why are you acting like this? Why are you avoiding me? And she's like, well, I mean, actually, I'm going to rewind. He sees her talking to Carlos first. And when he goes over to them, he makes this joke, a very funny joke. And he's like, oh, are you guys planning on running off without me? And I
Not
mean, it's
funny.
not, no, not even a little bit. It's like, what even saying? And Alexa's like, I mean, what? Do you think I would do that? And then, I mean, do you even care who I'm sleeping with? Because I mean, I know who you are now. We're going to be done. You've told me that you don't do girlfriends from the beginning, which is fine because, you're being honest and upfront. And on this past season of Summer House, I know you don't watch. So Sierra, we left Sierra. Sierra is a black girl who's a model, not Gabby, the other one. And Gabby.
Yes, I do know Gabby. I follow her sister on
I
Instagram.
thought so. So Sierra, she's the nurse slash model who dated Austin from
Hmm.
Southern Charm. The Austin, we hate him.
I
But
remember that.
so this new guy, West, comes on. And when West comes to the season, he's like, yeah, I'm like 20, whatever, and I don't have a job. I just moved to the city. I'm trying to figure out life. I don't really do girlfriends. Like, I I always like hit the brakes when it gets too serious. And the whole season, he tells us, this is who I am. And Sierra's like, I hear you. This is who you are. So I'm not going to sleep with you because when I sleep with somebody, it's more than that. And he's like, I hear you. Okay, cool. They don't sleep together the whole season, right? When the cameras are on. Cameras go down, they start dating. He meets her parents. He goes to a wedding with her. Like they're just together
Yeah.
until, the show is about to air. And he's like, there's just too much temptation out there.
People are in my
And
DMs. I
uh-huh,
can't
I'm
say
going to these
no.
watch parties. I can't think about her feelings, essentially, is what he said at the reunion. And I
Gross.
was like, it was super gross. But I was like, Wes told us from the beginning that he does not do relationships.
Yes. And Drew said that in the beginning. And then Drew's ex girlfriends around the table said the same thing, which is
Absolutely.
hard to hear. But sometimes we really got to listen to people and believe them when they say,
Yeah. And she heard him and she did not forget it.
yeah.
But you can't help but like developing feelings when you're spending all this time with somebody.
Yeah. Cause he's a great person.
Yeah.
But
So she's like, you've told me who you are. It is what it is. I'll be fine. And she leaves. And she goes outside. And when he comes out to find her, he's like, the hospital called. I'm on call. We have to go. I'm sorry. And they leave. So when she gets in the car, she's like, do you really have to go to the hospital? Or were you just saying that to, you know, get me to leave the party with you?
he's like, no, why would I lie about that? I do have to go. And they get into a bigger fight. The fight continues to build. He's like, that's immature. Like, why would I lie about something about that? And he's like, you're also one who is a workaholic. You're self absorbed and inconsiderate. You're always on the phone with Theo. And
He didn't say you're always. He said last night when we had to push back dinner, I could have said that you are all of these things.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you say I could have said it,
You wanted to have said it because you're
but
not
you
saying
just
it.
said it. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's been said. You think this of me. And he realizes, oh, I just called her all these terrible things.
yeah.
I am so sorry. I didn't mean that. And she's like, uh-huh, yeah, cool. Thanks for apologizing.
Yep. So when they get back, she immediately begins packing her stuff, and he's like, please don't leave. I just have to go into the hospital for a little bit, and let's talk when we're back. When I am, he's like, let's talk when I am back from the hospital.
And he says, promise me you won't leave like this. I want to fix this. And she says, okay, I won't leave like this. And she goes to sleep. So he comes home a couple hours later and he hugs her and he's like, can we please talk? And he says he's so sorry that she means a lot to him and them as a couple, we mean so much. And she's sobbing because she's like, this is our goodbye. This is our swan song. This is where it all ends. And he's not seeing it that way in the moment. He's like, oh, she's happy I'm back, maybe happy tears that we're gonna fix this. And they have sex. And before they have sex, he's like, tell me what you want. And she's like, I want you. And after he's like, you have me. But I don't think she took that as like you have my heart. It's
Yeah,
like
no.
you have my body.
She wanted his heart, body, soul, the full package of who he is.
And I think he was saying you have it all. No, I think he for sure was saying you have it all.
Yeah.
But he is a man who has trouble using the words.
What is communication?
Words mean things, and you got to say all the words to make sure we know what you mean.
Yes.
So the next morning he wakes up and oh no, Alexa is gone.
And
That's so
she's,
sad.
yeah, which totally leave when people are sleeping if you can't say anything. Sometimes it's also safer to do that. And she sends him a text and she's like, I've had fun. Thank you. And bye. And he gets emotional and is like, you know what? I'm just gonna power through. And he goes on a run. And during the week at work, he's just like very upset. And
Meow.
yeah, and Carlos comes over to his house and he's like, what happened? And he's like, Alexa hates me. She doesn't want to be with me. And he's like, you can fix this. You just like need to tell her the truth about how you feel. And similarly, Alexa is upset and trying to push on and focus on work.
So Drew goes to see his patient Jack, and Jack is now going through chemo because of his leukemia. And his mom is like, "Oh, how's Alexa?" Because Alexa gave her so many resources because originally Jack was a part of a car accident where there was a driver under the influence and he was in care for his broken bones. And her and Alexa bonded. So she's like, "Oh, how's Alexa?" And Drew's like, not I don't that. And she's like, "Oh, I see, I understand." And she's like, "You should just fix it. It looks like you're not happy. And you should just figure out what she wants the most and give it to her. And then just make sure that you can be with her." And he's like, "You make it sound easy, but I hear what you're saying. Okay, I got a plan."
Yeah.
So it's the day of her presentation to the city council.
To get approval for the at-risk project for Black and brown folks living in the Bay Area. Yeah, teenagers specifically. And he like sends her donuts to her office, being like, good luck. And she's like, "Aw." And then she's at the city council meeting and it's going great. And in walks Drew to the city council meeting and he sits down next to a black lady who looks familiar.
And I'm
And
like, "It's not sorry."
but it's Olivia, and he realizes that it's Olivia, and Olivia is there because Alexa listened to Drew and called Olivia to tell her about the project, and Olivia made the decision to come out and to support her sister at the city council meeting.
And a surprise twist. She didn't know.
Yeah, the secret. We love
Oh, I
positive
love
secrets.
surprises.
Yeah.
You should surprise me sometimes.
You wouldn't like it.
I would. I love surprises. Nobody ever gives me surprises. It's all I want in life, a surprise. A
Okay.
surprise birthday party. You're running out of birthdays.
Okay.
Next year I have to have a surprise party. Spread the word.
Okay.
Spread it for realsies.
For sure. We can do that.
Okay. Okay. If I
Okay.
don't get one, I'm gonna stop talking to everybody.
It may not be on your exact birthday,
I
but
just need a surprise party next year for my
you need to
birthday.
surprise
No, it's
somebody
this year.
in
I'm
real.
sorry, it's this year.
Oh my God. We're moving on. But the meeting goes great. Olivia gets up and speaks about the program that she got to experience as a teenager and how it opened up so many possibilities for her future and led to her now being an attorney who has made partner at her law firm. And it ends up passing. City council votes in favor. And after it ends, Olivia goes up to congratulate Alexa, and so does Drew. He's like hiding behind Olivia initially because like Alexa's just so shocked to see her sister there. He basically like gives her this like pre-prepared apology speech.
He doesn't have it. He has it prepared, but he can't remember any of it now that he's in front of her. And he's like, I changed my flight. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, I changed my flight from the first time. And she's like, "What? Your flight was at 8?" And he's like, "No, my flight was at noon. Um, and I should have known then that I can't be without you. I love you." And she's like, "Oh my God, like
Are
I've been
you
waiting for you to say
serious?
this. Oh, like these are the words you need to speak all the time now, sir."
Yeah.
And he's like, "To show you how serious I am, here, look at my phone." And on his phone, he has a congratulations letter from the Children's Hospital in Oakland saying, "Welcome, Dr. Drew." Not Dr. Drew. He said, "Don't call me Dr. Drew." Dr.
Yeah.
Nichols. It's like, "Congratulations, Dr. Nichols. We'd love to have you." And he's like, "I haven't accepted it. Should I take it?" And I personally would be like, "That's too much power for me. You decide what you want to do. And if you want to move to Oakland, you should do that.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it's okay." But she's like, "Yes, I love you. Move here with me. Take the job." And that's how the
That's it.
story ends. And then we have an epilogue, Chrissy.
I love epilogue every single time. And in this epilogue, they are heading to the Fairmont. So they're heading back to the hotel where they met, and they are meeting Carlos at the hotel before a night out. And as they get into the elevator to head up to Carlos's room, the elevator is filled with flowers and it's just like magical in there. And she's like, "What is going on? What is happening?" And he's like, "I had to come back to where this all began." And he proposes, and she says yes. And they get to like stay in the elevator for like what, like half an hour? It's like a short
Yeah.
amount of time. And
And like they
yeah,
had to like promise, maybe we're probably gonna have the wedding here. Like,
yeah, yeah, for
this
sure.
is it.
And that's their happily ever after.
I love this book.
It's a really, really good book. Like, yes, it starts off with like a classic fake dating trope, but then it like expands so much further with like two imperfect people needing to be honest about their feelings with one another and yeah, what they want. Who's your favorite character?
I already told you, Carlos. Carlos is my man.
Oh,
But you know
yeah.
what? I'm biased because I read Carlos's book first. And
But
I was
Carlos
like,
is great in all of the books.
can I marry Carlos? I
Like
mean, I
he
probably want to kill him, but
Nick would probably agree. But he like shows up well in every book. The wedding date, the proposal,
who's
his book.
Nick?
Nick is the girl that he gets with. Is that not her name?
Oh, I don't remember her name. I just remember Carlos. Listen, he was my main character. I
Well,
was like,
he's
who? Insert Julie. That's
insert ear. Yeah, he's great in the wedding party. He's great in the wedding day. He's just so, yeah,
the proposal. Come on, Mr. Carlos Ibarra. Okay. So yeah, I love Carlos. Carlos keeps it real. Carlos is funny. Carlos is honest. He's truthful. He's like, this is what's going on. And he gives tough love when you need it.
for sure.
What about you?
My favorite character is Theo and Maddie. They're tied. And I also like both of them because I really like their book, The Wedding Party. But they're the best.
Spoiler.
Sorry, that was a spoiler. But they're just such great friends to Alexa. And like, if I had ride or die friends, I would just go to Nordstrom with me to find it, even though like that's her job. Maddie's a stylist. Like, I just love how they were like, we want you to do this. We want you to be happy. We want to be supportive, even if you're not going to tell us everything.
I would go with you. You would not go with me. So you have that friend. I don't have that friend.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sure. And then I just really like how supportive Theo was throughout their whole entire time, like working with one another in such like a highly stressful environment at the mayor's office. And yeah, my two favorite characters were her friends. And I wanted more of them, which is why I love the wedding party.
Overall thoughts on the book. I loved it. I I read her books forever ago, and then when I reread, I was like, this is why I love her. Like, this is why I love. Yeah, that's the song that I want to sing to her. I
Love
started
that.
too high to do any more of it. What are you reading this week, Chrissy?
This week I am reading Next Door Nemesis by Alexa Martin.
I
It's a
no, I don't have it. Sorry.
but yeah, it's a book about Alexa. It's another Alexa. This is not intended,
We
but
like
it's
Alexis.
but it's about I'm so sorry. The author's name is Alexa Martin, and the book is about a character named Collins Carter, and she is back home living with her parents, and she like gets into this like competition with a high school friend slash kind of boyfriend named Nathaniel, where they're both running to be like on the HOA board, and it's just very like suburban drama, and I'm obsessed. And yeah, it reminds me of like all the HO things that people are always talking about that we know that have homes. And I'm like, whew, not for me.
Mm-mm.
What are you reading this week?
So I am reading a book called Gypsy Blood. It's by Christy Cutting. So it's a book about this girl who is she's a gypsy, and in the book, gypsies have magical powers where they're able to do just really amazing things, and they help kind of keep the world in balance with all the monsters.
Okay.
But she wasn't raised with the women in her bloodline because she has something special about her that we don't really know. And her mom passes and leaves her everything in her estate. So she moves to the city that her mom was last in. And there she meets these guys who are real life monsters. One's a werewolf, one is Van Helsing, the like the demon killer guy.
Oh,
Um
yeah.
one is Dorian Gray's brother, not
Okay.
from
Yeah,
the not
yeah.
from yeah, and then one is a vampire who's underground
Oh
Aryan.
my God.
And I haven't gotten to it, but I know it gets really sexy with the four guys and her. And I'm like reading, and then she has ghosts that follow her around.
Oh
And
no.
if she like locks eyes with a ghost, they become like they are like, oh, you can see me, girl. Let's hang out. And
Stalkers. The ghost of
yeah.
stalker.
So there's one ghost I love, Anna. Anna is just like comedic relief the entire time because she's like, oh, he's hot. And then Anna's like jumping all over the guys and they're like pretending they can't see her. And then she's talking about if I had your body, I would just be out here. I mean, it's really, really good. So that is Gypsy Blood by Christy Cutting.
My book was Next Door Nemesis by Alexa Martin. Different Alexa from the book we talked about today. But
I'm
yeah.
gonna name my daughter Alexa if I ever have one. I think I like her. Nope. Sorry, scratch that. I'm gonna think of another
That's
name.
on your list of names.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for hanging with us today on our covering of The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. If you have enjoyed the podcast, please like and subscribe and tell your friends about us.
Yeah, and follow us on Instagram if you have not already. There's a link to it in the show description, and it's spoiler alert HEA on Instagram. We're starting to post a bit more. So, yeah, come on over and let's chat more.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye. See you next week.